Hi, my name is Nathan, and today we're going to do a comic book review of Ma, issue number 1, brought to you by Rated Comics. Now let's get to it. We start off with the beginning of this book in this forest and this snake-winding river and this unknown figure going through some unknown transformation. I'm sure there's a point to this. Then we go back to 13 days earlier on the coast of Virginia. Two sisters are traveling to this feminist retreat, and this driver, I guess you call him like a Cheech-Chong Uber kind of driver or whatnot, and he has these snarky and sarcastic remarks like, "You ladies are getting empowered today." And these two sisters named Wendy and Marion. Wendy is the blonde girl. Wendy tells the driver that her sister and I are going to this retreat with Diana Spiro. Do you know of her? And the driver is like, "Man, I'm the only guy who can enter on the property without being axe murdered by 70-year-old lesbians." Okay, this guy has some clapbacks and some sarcasm to go with it, but Marion is more cynical, and there's a reason for that, which explains later in the comic book. Pretty much this book establishes that Wendy's the optimist, the driver is sarcastic, and Marion is cynical. And when they finally arrive to the women's retreat, they make a really cool callback moment that this gate looks like the Jurassic Park gate to me. So here we are. So when they enter the gate, we see this beautiful landscape overshot of the retreat and its scenery. Obviously, Marion has to make another joke. Well, that explains why the women here are dinosaurs. Makes sense. Okay, girl, I like you already. So the driver tells them to go over the hill, and that's where the retreat's at. And then we get more bonding with Marion and the driver, which it's just cool opening dialogue that sets up everyone's character. So when he goes over the hill, she's greeted by Miranda, and she's like one of the head of this women retreat that's leading these women on this feminist empowerment retreat on this island. And there are some things and some pages in this book that I cannot show on YouTube for YouTube guideline reasons. So Marion cannot take enough of this BS, and she's not buying it. I mean, she goes to the island. She's wondering where Diana is at, and Diana is the one that invited Wendy to this retreat, and then Diana's not even there. And Marion's moment is Diana Spiro is the wizard of the feminism or whatever, and we get to the Emerald City and she won't say hello. I mean, look, I'm sure Diana's doing something or whatever. So Marion leaves. Wendy stays with Miranda so they can further bond and Wendy can get more established and more familiar with the retreat and the island. So when Marion gets back to the driver, she gives him some money. Take me to a bar. I need a drink. So while Marion and the driver go and get that drink, Miranda takes Wendy where all the women are performing this ritual where they sit under the tree. And this ritual is where they call back to their past trauma. And this lady is sit back and she recalls these events that haunt her, like she locks the bathroom door. He kicks it open. He's screaming. He's calling me lazy. I cleaned the bathroom just the way he wants it. The days I clean the bathroom, he reaches for my neck and then it takes him. And then things go dark and red. It has long arms and fingers. It rips his tongue out. When it spits on his face, it spits his lies in his eyes bubble. Let him try to see the problem with that kitchen now. So what they're doing is they're birthing their rage, revisiting traumas, imagining that they had a protector there to help them. Miranda tells Wendy it's the guardian spirit and it can be fierce. And then we get this glimpse of these stones manifesting, I can't even speak right now, into something that resembles peace or closure or whatnot. Miranda asks Wendy, "What does your rage look like?" And Wendy's like, "If I ever see it, I'll let you know." Then we get to this bar that the driver takes Marion to. The driver foreshadows, "Look, this isn't a place for fun." And Marion's like, "Look, I am not here for fun. I'm here to drink." So she goes in, sits at the bar. This suspicious bar patron asked her, "Are you alone?" And she's like, "I'm in a bar and you're talking to me." So he buys her a drink, but he puts his hand over the drink, which that's kind of sus right there. So she drinks the drink. He asked her, "What do you do for a living?" And her answer is, "I had a job, drank too much, lost my job. Now I'm at bars, getting asked that very same question." Now, a clever part is in this writing where he responds with, "I work in life insurance." And before he can say the rest of the words, it blurs out and we get this glimpse of a sunset. And she just goes into her flashbacks. This book does a very good job on throwing you off course. It never gives you the full story. It gives you a gist. It just throws curveballs at you. So she's having flashbacks of dramas and trauma. And it was cold. And she describes this past event that haunts her. She knew she was sexually assaulted. When her and Wendy sit on the hood of a car and Wendy tells you should go to the cops, and she's like, I can't go to the cops when you drink like me. They're gonna give you lifestyle tips. Well, then you should at least go to the hospital, Wendy tells her. No hospitals. In hospitals, your body becomes public. You become a crime scene. And they're like, there has to be something you can do. And then Marion, which explains why she's cynical, or at least I believe this explains why she's cynical. And she recalls a flashback where she was assaulted, went into a court case. She had all this video evidence of her being sexually assaulted. Cigarettes were put out on her, but they didn't call it assault when they put cigarettes out on me. They call it youthful misadventure. And they only got 5 months in probation for that verdict. Well, they had a video of it, right? Well, the question was never whether they were guilty. The question was whether anyone cared. They posted posters of me on the neighborhood asking for dirt on me. There was threats to bomb our house. The lawyer talked about my drinking problem. They played the video. They made me watch it. They made me watch it in public. When I twitched, they said it was an orgasm. It wasn't enough. There's no justice. And that's the most justice that anyone will ever get. And this is a powerful story right there. And wow, that's all I got to say. So Wendy feels guilty about it. She's like, I was supposed to protect you. You were supposed to be safe here. And it's just like, have this powerful back and forth dialogue. And Mary ends it with, look, they say everyone has power, right? Well, I have the power to take a shower. It's a very clapback response of power my butt. We don't have power. Then Wendy looks down and she's like, you called me tonight. That's power. You had the power to ask for help and you let me bring you home. That's power. I'm gonna leave a little meat on the bone for you guys in case you do decide to purchase a book. Link in subscription, by the way. So to me, this is a story about rape and trauma caused by it. The physical torture is explained beautifully and it caused a lot of emotional distress, and it's at the heart of these two sisters' characters. How they deal with the effects and the lack of justice and their relationship are the themes of this opening issue. It deals with obviously tough and blunt subjects. This is what the book is. I'm just reviewing the book, but it has a disturbing beginning that never allows you to settle in. It doesn't. You don't know what it is. Overall, I think it's a good beginning to a horror story that sets its stakes early. Not only it stood out, but I think the only flaw in this book, if I can call it a flaw, is it ends too abruptly. But I think in the story, it works to serve as a benefit of a cliffhanger. It has horror elements to it, and the horror story hasn't begun yet, and I believe it'll go more into issue 2 in this 5-issue series. But it doesn't shy away the brutality and the cynicism of sexual assault. It's a very strong issue that runs the chance of walking a very fine, thin line. It lives on a very delicate subject that could be flooded with a whole sea of trigger warnings. But for the sake of storytelling, I totally understand it. I totally get it. And I don't know if I quite dig the book yet, but I will say I will be reading issue number 2 just to see where this goes, because this is one of those, it's a potential lots of trigger warning, and it walks a very fine line and it's very crafty, but I think if you get the book, you won't be disappointed. With that being said, issue number 1. What you guys think of the comic book? Comment below, let me know. And if you like the content we're throwing up, you know what to do. Don't be shy and don't be stingy. Here at Rated Comics, we do awesome comic book reviews, awesome comic book related content with the occasional comic book giveaway. Thanks again for watching. Until next time.